like the snaking central staircase in the Villa Savoye. Compare it with the ornately decorated staircase in the Trianon Palace just up the road in Versailles. When you're walking up this one, you feel entitled, glamorous, fancy. When you're walking up this one, you feel modern, technological, austere. In both, equally, their function is about so much more than getting us from floor to floor. It's also to make us think and feel a certain way.
Just like all their predecessors, modernist architects wanted their buildings to speak, just not of the 19th century of aristocracy, grandeur and pomposity. They wanted their buildings to speak of the modern age with its promise of speed, democracy, science and reason. They too wanted to prompt a state of the soul.
Perhaps the ultimate irony of the Villa Savoye is that it's really rather beautiful. Its fluid living spaces, openness to light, and atmosphere of simplicity and tranquility have been hugely influential on our ideas of what an ideal modern home might look like. Protestant in his pronouncements, Le Corbusier was nevertheless a Catholic in his heart. That Le Corbusier was a bit confused about beauty might not really matter if it hadn't been for the school of thought he pioneered. Travelling around Paris is widely agreed to be one of the world's most inspiring architectural experiences. There's a sense of order, grandeur and harmony on the big boulevards that makes you feel in no doubt about the benefits of the civilized life. And in the older neighbourhoods, the tight street pattern creates a sense of bustle and security and varied urban life. So it's a surprise to find that Le Corbusier wanted systematically to dynamite the whole of the centre of Paris and replace it with a single great park, punctuated by 18 60-storey towers stretching all the way from the Louvre to the slopes of Montmartre. Le Corbusier hated the narrow streets of old Paris. He thought them insanitary, overcrowded, dangerous to pedestrians and obstructive to traffic. He loathed what he saw as the reactionary pomposity of buildings like the Opera House and proposed to tear them all down, though he was willing to spare the Porte Saint-Martin as a gateway to his gloriously rational, efficient new Paris. This would all merely be an eccentric footnote to architectural history if it hadn't been for some of the places that Le Corbusier's thinking has inspired. Just outside Paris is the suburb of Bobigny, largely designed by disciples of Le Corbusier.
Le Corbusier's plans for Paris weren't completely crazy. They were picking up on some genuine problems from which 19th century Paris was suffering. He wanted to alleviate overcrowding, he wanted to increase the number of green spaces, and he wanted to do something about traffic congestion. It's just that in the process of solving one set of problems, he created a whole set of others, rather characteristic move for architects. And for the residents of the future estates that Le Corbusier inspired, the results were to be rather catastrophic.
The Charles family have lived on the 16th floor of one of Bobigny's towers for 20 years.
Vous les trouvez moches, les bâtiments? Comment vous les trouvez?
Ils sont gris, ils sont pâles, ils donnent pas envie d'habiter là-dedans.
Et c'est triste, quoi.
Ouais.
Ils n'ont pas réfléchi parce que c'est trop haut, les immeubles.
C'est trop haut.
Ouais, c'est trop haut.
C'est trop
C'est
haut.
trop, ouais. Mon rêve, c'était avoir une petite pavillon, un petit jardin que je pourrais faire, des petits potagers.
Ouais, comme la maison dans la prairie, quoi. Charlingham. Ouais, Charlingham.
Mais en tout cas, un petit jardin, un peu de...
Ouais, des petites fleurs, des petits trucs comme ça. En été, il faut pouvoir faire des barbecues, tout ça.
Ça casse le moral.
Ça casse le moral.
By saying that all buildings had to do was to follow their function, modernist architects like Le Corbusier thought they'd done away with the problem of beauty. But in places like Bobigny, all they've succeeded in doing is reminding us how desperately we suffer from its absence. Their rigid certainties about the future are now firmly in the past, but they've scared us away from the idea that there are any certainties at all. We now live in a world where architecturally almost anything goes, where there are no rules. And that's left us more confused than ever about beauty. I've come to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates because it's one of the best places in the world to witness an architectural style that's become known as postmodernism. Postmodernists have thrown themselves back into the decorative, ornamented forms of architecture that modernists like Le Corbusier once tried to banish. They've insisted that there's nothing wrong with decorating a building in any way the architect sees fit. Here in Dubai, architects are free to build pretty much in any style they like, any colour, any shape, any material. The result is an astonishing building boom, perhaps the biggest architectural experiment in the contemporary world. And it's all been done under the indulgent gaze of Sheikh Mohammed, former ruler of Dubai, who died in January 2006. Sheikh Mohammed was certainly a man of very eclectic taste. His flagship development is the Burj Al Arab, which the Sheikh owned personally. It's a soaring 650-room, 25-story hotel, which costs $2,000 a night. On the outside, it's sleek, pared down and high-tech. On the inside, it's a breathtaking collision of science fiction, film fantasy and Babylonian excess. Next door is the Al Jumeirah Hotel, also owned by Sheikh Mohammed. It's an entire, wholly fake, traditional Arabic town, which one reaches by gondola.
We're used to associating the word freedom with very positive things in politics or personal life, but when it comes to architecture, you do have to wonder whether the ability to build just anything you like is necessarily always an advantage.
Sheikh Mohammed's most ambitious scheme is The World, a $3 billion development of 300 man-made islands, each the shape of a different country. Rod Stewart is rumoured to have bought Scotland.
Well, that's your country. That's England.
That's England?
This is the Atlantic Ocean.
So that's America.
And that behind you is Greenland.
Well, let's talk religion. Yeah. Allah created the world,
yes.
And you're creating the world. I mean, isn't there a fear of hubris?
It's a smaller world, and our world is a commercial world with no problems.